make 10 different types of bibs, and deciding which one is best for you and your application can be a little bit tricky. So, I bought them all. Welcome, I'm Carl Murawski, and this is the channel that helps you own better, look better, and live better. Bibs, overalls, whatever you call them, there is almost no product that's more synonymous with Carhartt. Matter of fact, here in New England, and I bet in a lot of other places in the country, Carhartts are used as a term for simply insulated bibs. And a lot of people up here will keep them in the back of their truck, in the back of their car, for those mornings or evenings that are just getting a little chilly and you didn't dress right, so you gotta bring them out and you can start using them. As a matter of fact, this is my pair that I keep in the back of my car. Now, I got these probably in the late 90s, early 2000s, and these are the old style. They don't make them like this one anymore. These are Carhartt RO2 coveralls with their red polyester nylon lining, and these things have been great. I wear these whenever it just gets a little bit too cold, like I mentioned. You can see even here, like the shoulder straps a little bit. It looks almost like the dog got to it or something. I don't know what happened there, but either way, these things have been really helpful, especially when I didn't expect it to be as cold as it was. But the days of only two different types of bibs, insulated and non, are over. And now you have a lot more options than you ever did before. Insulated, Storm Defender, Rugged Flex, you could get almost anything you want. Now, I said I bought all of them to compare, but I should be a little bit more specific. I bought all except for the FR versions. Reason being is if you need FR gear, that's what you're gonna buy. You're not necessarily gonna be choosing between FR and Storm Defender, just two totally different things. But the rest are here. And first, let's get a little bit of terminology out of the way because this isn't exactly clear on the website. A bib is what you're used to, right? Two straps that come over the top, a chest piece, and that's it. A biberall is different because it's insulated all the way up the chest piece. Originally, I thought it had to do with like a higher cut, but it's not. It's actually about the insulation that is in the front of that garment. Also, the sizing changes whether they're insulated or non-insulated. The idea here is that you're probably gonna wear non-insulated bibs in place of your pants. So they're sized like your regular work pants. Whereas insulated bibs are designed to go over what you're normally wearing. So they're sized in small, medium, large, short, tall, regular. Let's start with the most affordable bibs in the Carhartt lineup. These are the Denim Loose Fit Bib Overalls. These cost $69 and are made of 11 3/4 ounce, 100% cotton denim. Essentially, if you love work jeans but just want them taller, these are the bibs for you. Triple stitched main seams, hammer loop, adjustable straps. These are simple, affordable, and effective. One of the main things we're gonna look at with these bibs is this main pocket, because this is the significant benefit of wearing a pair of bibs, having that utility here on the chest. Not too long ago, Carhartt changed this up, and I actually really like this design compared to the old ones. Where are my ones that I had before? So again, these are my old ones here, and you can see that this chest pocket is actually kind of useless. It has two openings here that have snaps, but this is way too small. You can't fit a phone in there. You really can't, there's no sub-organization. It's basically two pockets right there, and then this little side entry, which is actually left over from a pocket watch, as is this little section right here. So you'll see this, what looks like an additional button hole. This is actually like a historic reference back to the pocket watch. And these were okay, but they didn't really work as well as this new pocket. So I gotta say, I actually really like this a lot. Number one, the cool thing is that this big pocket here can fit a full-size smartphone. These days that's what most people carry. Then it has this sub-organization with a few pencil pockets, a pocket right here, and another one there. So they've given you a lot more storage at the top. Other than that, these are dead simple. There is no reinforcement here at the hem of the pant. Like I said, these are basically just your work jeans, only taller. And I think that if you've never actually used bibs before like this, unlined, you owe it to yourself to try, because once you get used to that utility in the chest pocket, it's really hard to go back. The fasteners on these are ones we're gonna see for a lot of the other bibs as well. Basically, it's a slot design where you kind of put that over that top piece, and then you have that. There's actually a lot of articulation with this model, so that's what's really nice about this style of fastener. It does take a little bit of getting used to, especially because you have to basically turn it 90 degrees to get it off. But once you get that down, you're pretty good. So it's nothing to really worry about. Next up is the Rugged Flex Relaxed Fit Canvas Bib Overall. These cost $89 and are made from 8-ounce canvas, which is 98% cotton and 2% spandex for stretch. These used to be known as the Rigby bib. They feature triple stitched main seams, reinforced cuffs, and double knees. These are probably the best for warmer conditions, being Carhartt's lightest bibs, and that stretch could also really help these not to feel too confining. A couple of other features, these actually have double knees, so these go all the way down there like almost chap style double knees, whereas some start there. These go all the way up, which I always liked. They also are articulated, so they're actually gathered in a couple places here to help with that natural knee movement. There's also clean outs at the bottom, which you can also insert knee pads into if you want. And then at the hem, you have the like reinforced double fabric that's basically there to give you an additional layer of protection. So this is the kind of thing that I really like, especially for lighter weight material. You have that additional protection and stuff that you have to wear through before you have to patch them or whatever. The other nice thing that these have that the denim does not is this type of pocket. This has this kind of shelf here, which is straight. So this is actually perfect to clip on a tape measure, or if you carry a pocket knife, it gives you a nice little flat spot there. And I really like that design. This actually, you'll see this continued into a lot of the other bibs as well. These are awesome. That main pocket is the same, so once you're used to this layout, it's the same for a lot of these bibs, and the slot type fastener at the top here is also the same, although these are in like a gunmetal gray, which looks better with this style, I think. Next up is Carhartt's best-selling unlined bibs. These are the relaxed fit men's bib overalls. These will set you back 89 bucks and are made from Carhartt's famous 12-ounce 100% ring-spun cotton duck. Now, Carhartt did a whole revamp of these bibs a while back, and there are almost too many features to list. The ledge pockets appear here as well, and they're designed to easily clip on a radio or a tape measure. The cuffs are reinforced the entire way around. There's a stretch section at the waist, and the updated chest pocket layout, which I mentioned earlier. And of course, you still get all that Carhartt stuff, triple-stitched main seams, rivets at the stress points, and all the stuff that makes Carhartt bibs famous. I did a whole comparison of different brands of bibs a while ago, and these really stood up to the competition. These have a lot more features for the price than ones from Duluth, a couple of other companies. You get a lot of stuff here for your money. Now, the last bibs, before we get into the insulated ones, are these right here. Now, this is the Storm Defender loose fit heavyweight bib, and these things are serious. These cost $139, are made from 7.3 ounce 100% nylon duck that's water and wind resistant while still being breathable. These are the bibs that you want if your job requires you to work in wet conditions. In fact, I remember seeing one of the contestants from that show Alone wearing a pair of these during his 100 days in the wilderness. They are seriously tough. One of the things that I noticed about these, which may not be apparent, is that all of the seams are fully taped on these. And sometimes I've noticed that other brands will only tape the main seams, but it looks like Carhartt has actually taped all the seams. That might not seem like such a big deal until you get water leaking through. Then it'll ruin your day. Now, I say these are unlined, but in fact, there is this mesh liner. This is similar to the kind of thing that you might have in your bathing suit. And basically what it does is it keeps you away from that material on the outside, which might not feel very good against your skin. And it also adds that sort of vapor layer between you and the fabric, so there's a little bit of breathability here. These are an example of bibs where the pocket layout changes, because again, the whole idea here is water resistance. So every pocket on these has a flap that will keep the water from basically filling it up like a bucket. Even on the back pocket here, any pair of bibs that Carhartt makes which are designed to see water or ice and snow, the clasps change. The whole idea there is to resist corrosion or rust or whatever may come from whatever it is that you're using. These also do have double knees. I just noticed that. So there are double knees here as well with the clean outs on the bottom. They are also articulated. Cargo pockets on the side. There are no hand warmer pockets like you would normally have in pants, again, so they don't fill up. The other thing I want to point out on these, which we haven't seen in any of the other uninsulated bibs, is that these open up like this, so you can get them on much easier. So they have a zipper with a storm flap and then a Velcro closure at the bottom, so you could actually cinch these things tight around your boot if you need to, just to keep that water out. All right, now we're gonna move into the insulated bibs, and this is kind of where things start to get confusing, because until now, the differences have been obvious. You have denim, you have lightweight rugged, you have a water-resistant version, and then you have, of course, the classic Carhartt duck. But now we have differences in insulation and differences in layout. So let's start. These are the loose fit firm duck insulated bib overalls. These cost $109 and are made from Carhartt's 12-ounce 100% duck, and these are Carhartt's best-selling insulated bibs. The insulation on these bibs is quilted nylon with polyester batting. These bibs are essentially the insulated version of the best-selling duck bibs I mentioned before, so you get all those features just in a warmer version. These bibs are a level 2 on the Carhartt warmth rating scale. Something that has always bothered me is if there's a brand that's over 20 years old, people will say, they don't make them like they used to, or their quality has always gone down, or whatever. And I want to just point this out, okay? This is, again, my old pair of R02 insulated bibs, which basically is what was replaced with this new model I just showed you. A lot of things in this new model I wish I had on these old insulated bibs. The number one thing is that my old insulated bibs only zipped up to the knee. So getting into them, it wasn't too bad. I mean, it's not a big deal. But these new versions, they zip all the way up to the thigh. So getting into them is really, really easy. And also, while my old version, it did zip all the way down and had this storm flap, there was no way to secure that storm flap. Well, on these, there are snaps to secure the storm flap, so you can actually really button those things right up. You have those great ledge pockets on the new version, which didn't exist on this old version. And one of the things you'll definitely notice if you've been working with your hands for a long time is these shank buttons on the original version, the R02, are pretty small. On the new one, they're supersized, so feeling those, especially when you don't have a whole lot of feeling in your fingers anymore, is very easy, and actually securing those up is a snap. The chest pocket on these old ones, as I mentioned, is basically useless, whereas on this one, it's a modified version of what I've shown you already, with a large zippered pocket and then a smaller sub pocket here with a Velcro closure, actually very similar to the Storm Defender. So sometimes they'll say, yeah, you know what, they don't make them like they used to, and in a case like this, I'm actually glad they don't, because they're better. Next up is the Relaxed Fit Men's Bib Insulated Overall, and I think this is the one that I was most curious as to the difference between the ones I just showed you and these. These are $10 more. And what are you getting? Number one, the first thing is that this material here is still 100% 12-ounce duck canvas. However, it's been washed, so it has a bit of a more broken-in feel to it over the rigid duck. Same base material, just been washed, so they're easier to wear. The pocket layout is basically the same with the exception of the chest pocket here, especially on these. This has the one that you saw on the Denim Bibs and on the others that has the little pencil pockets and stuff like that. You have those great ledge pockets, you have the big buttons on the sides, you have stretch panels to make them easier to wear. The one thing that I don't like about these is that they actually don't zip up all the way to the thigh. These zip up to the knee, which makes them a little bit harder to get on, but again, it's not a game changer for me. These have Cordura reinforcements at the cuff, so these things are gonna be really tough. But the big difference, and the thing that to me makes these worth that extra $10, is the insulation in here is 3M Thinsulate. So this is less bulky, but actually warmer than the ones I just showed you. Now that insulation bumps these bibs up to a 3 on the Carhartt warmth rating. And as I mentioned before, the fit on these is a little bit trimmer, just a tad, so they're not as full-fitting as the previous ones that I mentioned. All those features combined, to me, make these the ones to buy. All right, now we're getting into the heavyweights. These are the insulated men's bib overalls. And actually, that's a bit of a misnomer because these are in fact biberalls, as I mentioned earlier, because they are insulated all the way up that chest piece and all the way up the back. So not only do you get the insulation in your legs and stuff like that, but you also get it up top. These monsters cost $139. They're made from 12-ounce, 100% firm duck canvas and feature Carhartt's Arctic weight insulation, giving them a 4 on the Carhartt warmth scale. Not only are these bibs warmer than the previous ones I mentioned, but they also have a unique design with a full height zipper. The insulated upper section is cut much higher, and this design makes getting into and out of them much easier. Of course, you also give up a little bit of utility without the chest pocket layout of the other bibs. However, if warmth and durability are your main concern, these will fit the bill. The legs open up to the hip for ease of getting them on and off, and of course they have Cordura reinforcements at the hem. If you're a traditionalist and you like the Carhartt duck, these are the warmest bibs you can get. But wait, we're not done yet. These are the men's Superdux insulated bib overalls. These cost $179, are made from 7 3/4 ounce nylon with a DWR coating, and feature quilted lining insulated with 80 gram of 100% polyester 3M Thinsulate from the waist down. The upper part is insulated with Carhartt's Sherpa lining, giving these a 4 on the Carhartt warmth scale. A few years back, Carhartt reintroduced their Superdux line, which was geared toward outdoorsmen and recreation. These biberalls feel much more flexible than firm duck while still giving you a lot of warmth. So if you're on the ski slope, in a duck blind, or whatever else you may do outside, these bibs are your best bet. The Superdux Bibs zip to the knee. Of course, you also have those Cordura reinforcements. And do you remember how I was telling you that all the Carhartt bibs that are designed to deal with basically wet conditions have a different clip design? Well, these do. So you have those plastic clips on these right here. Another thing that I noticed about these that they don't talk about on the website is there's a couple of other little reinforced Cordura sections, like here where you might clip your tape measure or your knife or whatever. They have a little section of Cordura. So there's a lot of hidden little features that I simply can't cover. Finally, we have the warmest bibs that Carhartt makes, and that is the Yukon Extremes Insulated Biberalls. These cost $200 and are made of 500 denier Cordura nylon. They are insulated with 150 grams of 3M Thinsulate, and of course they're a 4 on the Carhartt warmth scale. These bibs are entirely different than any of the previous models, featuring a full front zip and a distinct pocket layout, complete with 2 large cargo pockets, one on each thigh. The Cordura shell has a DWR finish to make snow and ice basically fall right off it, and it retains the same clasps as the Superdux model. The Yukon Extreme series is designed for the situations where cotton duck may be too absorbent and you need some seriously warm insulation. So if you work in the ice and snow, these are gonna be the bibs that you want. Now, the Yukon Extreme series zips all the way up to the thigh here, so getting in and out of them is very, very easy. And this shell material here is honestly incredible. I had a friend who wore one of the Yukon Extremes jackets to work thinking that in a few years it would break in. It never did. And it looked basically exactly like he bought it even a few years later. This stuff just shrugs off. I mean, it's Cordura, so abrasion is not an issue. These things are insane. I hope that clears things up. You know, Carhartt didn't sponsor this video or anything. I really wanted to make this video because it's very difficult to tell the differences between these bibs just by looking at online specs. And since there are so many of them, how do you know which ones are best for you? You don't want to spend $200 on a set of Yukon Extremes if that's not exactly what you need for your job. So I hope this clears things up for you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to my patrons for your support. You guys are the best, and I'll catch you next time.